Hey everyone, it's Tango Oscar Mike. It is a brisk morning here in western Pennsylvania. It's about 27 degrees, but the sun's up and it's going to start warming up fast today. I think we're supposed to get into the mid 40s today. It'll be pretty nice. It's early in the morning. I'm out to get a hike in, but I really would like to get more yard work done. Get to work on cleaning up more of the wood from the ice storm. It's unbelievable how much I have. You drive around my neighborhood and there's just piles of branches laying in people's yards and stuff that hasn't even been touched yet. The good thing about doing a hike this early in the cold is that it's been really muddy lately with all the rain and stuff, because it has warmed up a bit, but the ground is frozen pretty solid today. But I'm sure as things go on, it's going to loosen up. Might get a little muddy, but so I haven't been filming much in the wintertime because the GoPro sucks in the wintertime and the batteries go dead really fast. So we'll see how it goes today. I have a brand new battery in the camera, but yeah, I do have a new piece of gear to try today. I bought a new knife. I've been wearing it as a neck knife. It is the Becker Eskabar, or the Ka-Bar BK14. I broke out the chest kit today, and I've got my tourniquet on there. My first aid is on the top of my pack. Trying to be a little more conscious about first aid and that kind of stuff. I don't know if you're like me, but I am glued to the TV watching the news about the Ukraine. You know, there's some real bravery going on over there, if you ask me. The people of Ukraine, if you look at the statistics, they're greatly outnumbered by Russian forces, at least on paper. But they seem to be holding out pretty well. You know, everyday citizens fighting for the freedom of their country. But it's not just that. This event is forever going to change the future of our world. You know, we've always had a relationship with Russia. It's always been a strained relationship, just like with some other countries, but I think at this point it's going to be even worse, and who knows what the future has in store for us. But one thing's clear is it'll never be the same. And we have to realize, just take a moment and think about how lucky we are here in this country. You know, you see them opening up crates of rifles and handing them to civilians who have probably never shot a rifle in their life, and telling them to defend their country. You know, we like to think that there'd never be an invasion on US soil, and it probably would be very unlikely. But you may have to defend your country one day, and it'd probably be better to have some training and have some knowledge before that event comes. I know they've banned the use of ham radio in the Ukraine, but I think that the tech prepper mentioned a post he did on Instagram. You know, I wonder if ham radio is being used to fight the Russian forces. You know, and if it is, are they using any type of encryption or codes so the Russians don't know what they're doing? We'll see. Another goal I have today is to try to find some fat wood. You know, there's lots of pine around here, and all you need to do is check one of these stumps. Maybe I can find some fat wood. I brought a little saw with me in case there's some branches on the trail that I can clear. This is flowing. That's supposed to be a bridge. Jumping with a pack. Woohoo! I should have worn my shoes, my boots today. It's cold enough for them, but for some reason I grabbed my hiking shoes when I left. I have wool socks on, my feet aren't cold. My hands are actually a little cold. I didn't think it was going to be that cold on my hands, so I may do a hike and then go back to the car and do the activation. The hike's really just to get the exercise. I do love winter. I don't really enjoy the in-between between winter and summer. Spring's always a sloppy mess. And we kind of had an exceptional winter this year. It was a little rough. So I am kind of looking forward to getting out more in the summer here. My wife actually, we talked about taking a trip, and we were thinking about taking a trip to New Zealand or even Australia this year. It'll be our 20th wedding anniversary. And with COVID still running around, I know they just told everybody they can don't have to wear masks anymore inside, the CDC. Big pine tree. Yeah, this is ice damage for sure. Wow. Wowzers. But we think we're just going to take some trips in the US again like we did other years. Maybe take a road trip, do some POTAs. We did this last year a couple of times. We got Augi, took Augi with us. We went up north to Erie, Pennsylvania, did a couple of POTA activations, did some hiking, went to some breweries for my wife. We actually went to a brewery, not a brewery last night, but actually we went to a brewery, Recon Brewing. This is kind of one of their satellite stores. They don't actually brew there, but they serve their beer there, and my wife really likes their beer, so we went there. And then we went to Over the Bar, which is a restaurant, and got something to eat. They had a huge selection of bourbon. Bourbon's really becoming popular. It's the second place we went where there's just a massive selection of bourbon. And I was really tempted to try some 12-year-old Pappy. I've never had Pappy before because it's hard to find. And it was $80 for an ounce. So I passed on that. I had some Michter's bourbon, which is pretty good. I like to try different bourbons. So it was good though. Yeah, it's a bit frosty this morning. Well, I've been hiking for a little while, and there's definitely signs of ice damage. Somebody cut some of the limbs off of it, try to make a path through. I stopped to check a couple stumps that I saw so far to see if I can get some fat wood from them, but either they've been too rotted or I cut into them a little bit and really it's just hard wood. It's not really fat wood. I wish I would have brought an axe with me. It probably would have worked better. but I'm trying to organize a first aid CPR class for my club. About a month ago, I was out to dinner with some friends, and I might have mentioned it in an older video, but I was an EMT firefighter for many years when I was younger. My father actually was the chief of the fire department. My brothers were all involved. You know, we all kind of did it, and then my dad retired from it. They moved to Florida. I moved, we got married, so I really haven't done it since then. But the experience I learned being an EMT, I saw a little bit of everything, and it's definitely helped me over the years. Treat injuries, not just on myself, but on other people, my dogs, you know. So you'll always find a first aid kit in my home or in my vehicle. My wife called me one day from her office, and one of the guys in her office cut himself, and they are very small offices. She asked if there was a first aid kit in her car, and I told her, yeah, it's back where the spare tire is. And she went back and lifted up the panel where the spare tire is and found all kinds of stuff in the car. First aid kit, tow strap, some survival gear. So that's just the kind of person I am. She didn't even know I put it in there. I do believe I told her, but she didn't remember. So, but anyhow, we were out to dinner, and my buddy sitting across from me starts looking at me weird and saying, Tom, Tom. And we have this thing where we both try to sit with our facing the door so we can see if anything happens, if a threat happens. And I thought that I was sitting facing the door, but he was telling me there was something behind me that was going on. And when I looked, there was a gentleman sitting at a table, and at first I thought he was choking. So I jumped up and went back, and the woman that was with him, they didn't have any food or anything yet, so he wasn't choking. You know, he was having a seizure. And I wasn't quite sure at first what was going on, but I did kind of figure it out, and asked her, but she didn't know him that well, and didn't know if he'd ever had seizures before or anything like that. Another EMT there came up and helped, and we got him to the floor. We moved him into the recovery position, which is on your side. If you don't know what the recovery position is, go out and Google it, because it can be very important. I've used that position several times. One of the companies I worked for in the past was on multiple floors in a building, and I heard myself being paged over the system, and I didn't know what it was for. And then I heard an urgent page, and I ran upstairs, and one of the people in the office had collapsed, and he was on the floor underneath his desk, and I rolled him on his side, and he was eating peanuts. There were peanuts on his desk. He did choke. I got him to spit the peanut out, patting him on the back, checking his mouth, got the peanut out. Medics showed up, and he was fine. They did take him to the hospital and stuff, but that's really all it was, I think. But this is just another situation. This gentleman, we got him on the floor, made sure he was breathing, checked his pulse, and waited for the medics to get there. And once the medics got there, we got out of the way, let them do their thing. He was a big guy. When they went to lift him up onto the stretcher, me and my buddy jumped up and helped him get back on the stretcher. And that was pretty much it. So that prompted me to start looking at my club to try to get a first aid CPR class going at my club. There are things that I should have done that night that I didn't do, and one of them was most restaurants and businesses have oxygen and an automatic defibrillator, and I wish I would have asked for that gear, because if he was having a seizure, the oxygen might have helped, and if he would have been having a heart attack, the AED would have been there and ready and not have to wait for somebody to go dig it out of the manager's office or something like that. So those are a couple of things I wish I would have done. The other thing I thought of is my watch. I have a Garmin Instinct Solar. I could have put my watch on that gentleman's wrist and got his pulse, his oxygen saturation, because the watch will check for that. So I could have used that to get valuable information. So it's just something to consider. You'll use medical training, I think, more than any other skill you'll learn. I train with a firearm. I've been to classes for a firearm. I've carried a firearm since my early 20s. And I've still used my medical skills all the time, and I've never used my firearm. Well, I have used my firearm, but I've never fired my firearm in self-defense. But I would also recommend some trauma training, or some wilderness aid type training. I think all those are very good. So I am here at the pine forest, the dark and gloomy pine forest. I have the TX500 with me, a Russian-made radio. The company that makes that radio may put out a statement about the Ukraine invasion, saying that their motto for their company, that they want the motto for their company, products made for peace, which I think is awesome. I'm against war. I know it's a necessary evil of this world, and sometimes you have to fight to defend innocent people. So I wonder if those radios are being used, and we may, imports of that radio may stop completely. If Russia, relationships with Russia the way it is, the sanctions, who knows what's going to happen. I mean, you may not see any more products from Russia ever again, which is a shame. My company has 5 offices in Russia. We have offices in the Ukraine too. But we haven't, the latest word was we know that some of them were okay, but really haven't got words, information on the other ones. I mean, it's very possible that those people in our office, and I've heard this about other companies based in the Ukraine, where their employees actually have gone to join the fight. So, I don't know. It's something else, that's for sure. A predator just jumped from one tree to another. See, these stumps have all been here too long. It's too rotted. I mean, there's nothing to it. It's still hard. And I'm looking for a stump that's been here a long time but hasn't really rotted. A stump that's still together. It looks like it's been here a long time. And I'm not on the trail at this point, I'm just walking. The trail zigzags through these woods. The bike trail or hiking trail, whatever, just zigzags all through these woods. I'll be going out over there, but I wanted to look over here. There's a bunch of trees down over here. Let's go take a look. Like, that's rotted. So it should be an intact stump, but a lot of this looks like it was cut though. And if it was cut, then the trees is rotted. There's a big stump there. That might be too big for me to do without an axe. Let's take a look, shall we? Yeah, that's going to be too hard for me to do without an axe. A reminder for our Sunday morning nets, which I'm missing. There's some coal. That's what this land out here actually was. This was a coal strip mining operation, and all these trees and stuff were planted after that all went away. At least that's what I was told. So, okay. So this is the knife I got. The Becker Eskabar. It's a skeletonized knife. Comes with a sheath. I saw an interview that Mr. Becker did, and had a tip in it, which I actually liked, and that is to stretch a piece of inner tube, this is bicycle inner tube, around the sheath of the knife, and then you can use that to hold other items. So I have a ferro rod, which is a large ferro rod. I really would like to get a smaller one. And I have a little piece of saw blade here that I could use as a sparking device. The Becker, because it's coated, I tried. You cannot use the back of the knife to spark a ferro rod. A lot of people take a file and grind off the coating on the back of the knife to use, and I don't want to do that yet. So for me, it was just easy to put a little sparking device in there, this little blade here. I have been wearing this as a neck knife, which I didn't think I would like. I thought it would be really big, but it's actually kind of nice. So it's something good. I did get the TDI clip that goes with this, so you could wear this on a belt, and it sucked. It bent. When I bent the clip out to put it on my belt, the clip actually bent. It's not spring steel. It's just a cheap piece of thin steel, and when you bend it, it's bent and doesn't bend. Doesn't spring back into position. So it is terrible. The sheath isn't bad. I understand though that if you can get nut handle inserts for this knife, and if you get those, then you can't use this sheath with it. So then you have to get an aftermarket sheath, which there is kind of a nice aftermarket for these knives, sheath wise. But let's see if I can't split a piece off of this and take a look. Maybe? Nah, it's really not dark. If it was fat wood, it should be really dark. Let me go a little deeper here. Too much. Yeah, if it was... Well, it does smell very piney though. It smells awesome. So let me see one of these little curls here. It's trying to stay lit. So I think I'm on the right track. But I really need an axe to get at it. Or it could be a good excuse for me to come back out. Yeah, I wish I had an axe. But fat wood normally is so much darker, so there might be some good down at the bottom, but not there, I don't think. I think I'll keep looking, try to find another small stump like that. If not, I know where it is, and I can come back and find that pretty easy. I've already made the decisions. My feet are a little cold because I didn't wear my boots. My hands are a little cold. I'm not going to do POTA from the woods. I think I'm going to go back to the truck and try to set up with the truck and do a quick POTA activation. Yeah, more damage, so I'm going to hike out here. Well, that was a nice little hike, about just over 3.5 miles, which is good because then I still have energy to go home and do yard work, or do another hike with my wife and Augie if they want to. November 3, Whiskey Sierra, Park to Park. QSL, I have you as a 592. I am at park K1360. QSL. Okay, thanks for the activation. Have a great day. Well, that didn't go as planned. The North Carolina QSO party kicked off, so I couldn't find any clear frequencies to activate the park. I should have checked the schedule, but I didn't. So I made enough contacts to activate the park. I made 3 park-to-parks and 8 North Carolina QSO party contacts. I strapped another car pulled in, but I strapped my antenna to the pole here, and it's just an end-fed 49-to-1 end-fed out there. So I'm gonna get things cleaned up and go head home and get some breakfast. So not the video I intended to make, but still I enjoyed it and had a good time. Hope you enjoyed the video. This is Tango Oscar Mike, the 73. Take care. He's tired. There you are. There you are. Oh, look at this dizzy boy. Look at you. There's old buddy. Look at you. Look at your jacket. Look at that. Look at you. Oh, dizzy boy. Ah, dizzy boy. Yeah. That's my boy. That's my boy. Even your nose is dirty. Even your nose is dirty.
Tango Oscar Mike.